Kevin Carmichael is an author, speaker, and YouTuber who Gary Vee called a content DJ that inspires people. He went from making $300 per month and being a shy introvert to having over 300 million people watching his YouTube videos. And today, let's learn how to take control of your life. Mentor me, Evan. Okay, let's kick it off with rule number 1. Take control of your life.
Saying I never have the time is the single greatest excuse that is preventing you from accomplishing your goals. You are not allowed to say it anymore. Stop it. Stop believing your own lies. Whatever story you're telling yourself as to why you can't do it, how much time you don't have, somebody else who made it had it way worse than you did. They made it and had it way worse than you did. If they can make it, you can too. The only difference is the story you're telling yourself that you don't have enough time to do it. So I'm gonna give you a more fun example on this one. I wanna get to being a better League of Legends player, okay? I would play League of Legends, I don't know, once or twice a week, depending on what was happening in my calendar. I started sponsoring a League of Legends player, my first esports venture, this guy named Carmichael, and he plays Teemo. Teemo's a character in the game. I play Teemo. He's the best Teemo in the world. In any region around the world, he is the #1 guy. And I said, Carmichael, I want to sponsor you, and part of the deal is you're gonna coach me. I want you to coach me on how to get better. I wanna get better. I wanna climb. I was in bronze, which is the second worst division in League of Legends. He said, what was the best you've ever done? I said, silver, which is the third worst division in League of Legends. And so he said, okay, I can help you. How often are you practicing? I said, I don't know, once or twice a week. It's like, okay, that's not enough. I need you to play 3 games a day. 3 games a day. And a game takes 35 to 40 minutes, sometimes longer, depending on how long it takes to get into the game. Could be 45 minutes, maybe even up to an hour. And I'm thinking in my head, 3 games a day, are you nuts? I don't have time to do this. I can't make that happen. I got all these other responsibilities. Right? If it's important, you got to stop telling yourself that you can't do it. How do I justify playing 3 games a day when I have all these other stuff I need to do? I need to run a business. I want to scale. I want to grow my YouTube channel. I want to grow my impact. I need to write my book. I need to launch my YouTube course. I need to spend time with my wife and my family. I got lots of other things that I need to do. I need to sleep, all of it. How do I justify spending 3 games a day to improve my Teemo? I don't have the time. Your actions map to your ambitions. I look at my calendar, I made a way. I'm gonna do it. I wanna get better. I wanna improve. Now, I don't do it when I'm traveling, so I'm here in LA right now, so I haven't played my 3 games since I've been away. But when I'm in Toronto, pretty much every day that I'm in Toronto, I'll get my 3 games in. And I've gotten better. The results speak. I went from bronze to silver, and now I'm climbing up through silver, and hopefully the goal is to get the gold by the end of the year. So that was the fourth worst division. And you're starting to get, once you get in the gold and you get a little bit higher, now you're starting to get some kind of, not reputation, but significance, and just like you're actually a semi-decent player, right? So I'm chasing down my League of Legends goals. Because your personal goals, you may be watching and thinking, well, why are you wasting your time doing it? It's a personal goal to me. It might be a waste of time to you. Maybe building a deck for your backyard is a big waste of time for me. Maybe making your own clothes or whatever other hobby you have, cooking or crafting, is a big waste of time for me, right? So don't judge somebody else's personal goals. This is a personal goal of mine. I want to chase it down, and I want to not tell myself that I don't have the time, right? As soon as you hear yourself say, I don't have the time, you're not taking control of your calendar. You're not taking control of your life. Of course you have the time. You choose not to prioritize it. That's the change in language you need to make. You're not allowed to say, I don't have the time. Instead, I choose not to prioritize it. Because now you're in charge. Now you have nobody to blame. Because when it's somebody else's fault, when you don't have the time, that's not your fault. That's somebody else's fault. That's everybody else who has demands on your time, right? You can't do anything about it. So let's just stay here and never accomplish your goals. You choose not to prioritize it. Once you take accountability, once you take responsibility to say, I'm gonna take control of what I want to do in my life, that's when everything starts to change.
Also, if you want to have more confidence and motivation, check out our 254 series. The link is in the description below.
If you're doing work that you love, you're more likely to follow through. You're more likely to do it because it doesn't feel like work, because you love doing it.
Successful people take responsibility for where they are in life.
Publishers do a little bit of work to help you. They try to line up a little bit of media and some of their contacts, but don't expect the publishers to do a lot. These days, it's really up to the author.
Rule number 2, build self-discipline.
The mind is getting in your own way. If you want to lose weight, you know how to do it. You got to eat less, you got to work out more, you will lose weight. Why are you not doing it? Self-discipline. Your mind is getting in your way. But I see self-discipline as a positive. I think self-discipline has a really negative connotation a lot of times. I think in a lot of the messages that people are putting out, it comes across as this really negative thing. Like you have to force yourself to do all of the stuff that you really hate and it's gonna suck, but you have to keep going. You gotta do it. You gotta be disciplined. If you're not disciplined, you suck. Everything's terrible. It just comes across as this really negative, forcing yourself to do stuff that doesn't resonate with me. I see self-discipline as a really positive thing. I think it's really helpful. I think it's amazing and beautiful and golden. Let's look at weight as an example. I am the lowest weight that I've been all year. I'm on a routine. It's working. The specific strategies that don't really matter. 1, intermittent fasting. So I'll only have water and a coffee until noon, and then after that I'll start eating. I do that 7 days a week. I run for 30 minutes. Usually at night while I'm watching a show with my wife, 7 days a week. And then 6 days a week, I'll restrict my calories, not really forcing myself not to eat food, just not eating Doritos and not eating junk, right? Eating healthy food 6 days a week. And then Saturdays, I get to do what I want. 6 days a week. Those are the strategies that I use. It may seem like torture, but it's not. And the thing that helps me get through it is the mindset, because the positive of all of this is I'm losing weight. I'm feeling great. I'm making progress. I'm super pumped that I'm getting closer to my goal. I feel amazing about myself. So I think self-discipline, usually it seems to focus just on the actions that you just have to grind your way through it without enough focus on the mission of what you're trying to accomplish and how beautiful and wonderful that is. And so yes, some of it might suck, right? But you're moving towards something amazing and beautiful. So I think people just focus too much on the negative part of it. And if you force yourself to do something that you hate, you can only do it for so long before you give up. If you can't tie it into the bigger picture of what you're trying to accomplish, then you will give up and you will quit and you will feel terrible. And then I think having other people yell at you about how you need to have self-discipline doesn't actually help. I think it actually makes it worse because you develop the identity for yourself of I don't have any self-discipline. You can build it. It's not that difficult to do. In my perspective, in my view, all you need to do is make sure that you have a really strong why. Make sure that you have an outcome that you are really looking forward to and you love doing. And then the process itself, how do you make the process as enjoyable as possible? How do you make the process just not absolutely suck every single day going in, right? If you figure that out, then you win.
And rule number 3, the last one before our very special bonus clip, is believe.
Your biggest problem is a lack of belief. The only thing that's holding you back, holding me back, holding your friends and family back is a lack of belief. It is the world's biggest problem, and that's why I created these YouTube channels. I've seen the impact, not just on the people around me, but myself, firsthand, myself, the value of having my own channel. In the work that I do, I make it selfishly for myself so that I learn, that I get better, that I grow, that I challenge myself. And it's often hard to see it on a day-to-day basis. You may not feel a lot more confident, have a lot more belief from one day to the next. You might have some big win, you might take on some big challenge, and then you feel good about yourself, but then you fall back down the next day. And you don't see that that's actually a win because the win that you had was so small. The growth that you had was so tiny that on a day-to-day basis, you can't see it. That's the problem. But if you consistently are doing the things like watching this channel or consuming a podcast or reading a book or hanging around people who are better than you, who have more belief than you, who are growing and pushing, that inspire you, if you're around that every single day, and you look back on your life, you look back in the past X number of months, you'll see how much you've grown. You just will. I've seen it in my own business. Go back and look at my old content. I started a new series on my other channel where it's old Evan versus new Evan. And the first video we did was 2016 Evan versus 2019 Evan. And what do you think? And you may not see that big a difference in me from last week's video to this week's video, or yesterday's Espresso to today's Espresso. But when you go back 3 years, see, it doesn't even look like the same person. Go back 10 years, go back and watch my first videos. Go back and watch the first videos. The content was still good, the message was still good, but the delivery, the execution sucked because I didn't know what I was doing, because I didn't have a lot of belief.
And I'm still trying to chase the next level. You know, I've grown in belief, but I'm never done. The thing that's holding me back, it's still belief. It's belief in the ability to get to the next step. Because as you expand your comfort zone, there's still other things that are outside your comfort zone. You don't want to ever get to the point where you're not growing, where there's not something outside your comfort zone. But then everything inside becomes easy, right? What used to scare you now is super easy. Now isn't a problem anymore.
And now I have a very special bonus clip on how to not care about what other people think that I think you're gonna enjoy. And if you made it this far in the video and you promise to take action for watching the video, give me a hashtag believe in the comment below. We want to celebrate you. Well, at least we do.
I think it's really important for entrepreneurs to understand where your threshold is of how much crap you could take from other people, how much negativity, how much feedback and criticism that you could take without it impacting your psyche or your self-worth. I think in general as an entrepreneur, you need to be prepared to get a lot of crap, a lot of negativity, a lot of stuff thrown at you. And yes, it's easy to say, don't care what other people think, but understanding what your tolerance level is and where you kind of fit on that spectrum can really help you design the rules so that they're in your favor. So as an example, there's a guy on my team who doesn't handle criticism as well. You know, I'm a lot more comfortable in the uncomfortable where he can bounce around a lot more. He'll be on top of the world, like this is great, and then a negative feedback comes in and it really impacts him hardly, and then the positive one comes in and he jumps back up. And so for someone like him, you can't design as much risk, as much negativity or potential negativity, so you gotta take a safe path up. Where for me, I'm more comfortable in the uncomfortable. I know that eventually something's gonna work out, and I know that at the beginning of any project it's gonna be rough, that it may not work out, that we're gonna get some criticism. And so I'm more willing to jump all in and play in that field, even though it's painful at the moment, because I know the faster I get through that pain, the faster we're gonna come out the other side. I want that feedback and criticism and negativity as soon as possible so that I can make it better. Better for you, better for me, better for everybody. And so understanding what your tolerance level is of emotional stability, how much you can take from your friends and your family and your customers and your audience and the people watching you before you break, and then being able to play just below that limit. Because you can't just play super safe, because that's not gonna make you happy as an entrepreneur. But knowing where your limit is and playing just below it so that it's uncomfortable, it's painful, but you're still gonna be able to get through it, I think is really important. That self-awareness, I think is really important as an entrepreneur.
If you want to know what Evan's favorite entrepreneur, check the video next to me. I think you're gonna enjoy. Continue to believe. I'll see you there.
If you were to think about everyone that you and your team have made videos about, and you could go to dinner with 3 of them, dead or alive,